Hey, what's going on, everyone? On both channels, I'm simulcasting tonight. I'm here. Theo WAF is backstage as well. We were just talking basketball, of all things, because my Michigan Wolverines just won the national title. So I'm going to play the intro. I'm simulcasting, so you're gonna see a blend. This is going to be a version of the intro from my science channel. Because among other things, we're talking technology tonight. So without further ado, let me play this, and then I'll say a few introductory words, and then I will bring up the OF so we can learn about cloud engineering and his efforts to teach that discipline to Black men. All right. So I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I think this is the significance of when you say the technology is running so far out ahead of the biology, right? Because it's almost shattering that part of our natural programming.
So what's going on, what that really talks to is the reason why it's done that way is our systems operate on a seniority-based modality. So the older the particular system we've adopted, the more powerful that neurological pathway and impulse. That's why these studies are critical. Everything in our biology is predicated on these kinds of principles. The reasons why we were able to evolve as a group, because there were certain things that we were able to lean on from the group aggregate existence that allows for us to do things as individuals that are defined as healthy. And when you begin to do wholesale swapping out on a one-for-one of social modality versus technological introduction, then you begin to atrophy a lot of these things and you start having deficiencies in ways you had no idea, or you get unintended emergent behavior, as we're seeing with the behavioral sinks, for example. It's all connected to social roles, in my subjective opinion.
Welcome to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. Science and technology stories are all around us, and there are always science and technology stories to tell. There are always science and technology stories to tell. Hey, everybody, I'm simulcasting tonight, so welcome to the original Big Discussions 76 channel, and also welcome to Big Discussions 76 Science and Technology if you're watching over there. So I am using the Ron Wills model, so I do have multiple channels, and typically on Saturday mornings, if I have energy and time, I do science live streams over there. But tonight, I thought it would be a good idea to simulcast it to both. A few quick announcements before I bring up our guest of honor. My brother Amal Dunbar has entered into the merchandise game, so this is one of his first designs. This is Elijah McCoy, the inventor of the real McCoy. He has several designs, and his email address, that's how he's taking sales right now, will be in the description box of this stream. And so I just wanted to be a model, a billboard for him tonight, as I was during Black History Month. Speaking of my brother, I was thinking about, we're close, so we talk quite a bit, and not all siblings are close, but he referred to my channel sometimes as having red pill content. This is my main channel, and I was thinking, why I do venture into some areas, but I wouldn't call this a quote unquote red pill channel. And I look at what our colleague, our hombre, the Passport OG, does every day, and I kind of think of this as citizen journalism, the layperson reporting on things that the mainstream media does not. In some instances, the master teacher called me manosphere adjacent, so I guess I'm adjacent. So in some instances, we'll deal with those things, and in other instances, we'll talk about technology. In other instances, we'll talk about money. in other instances, we'll talk about current events. It just depends. I think I've gotten a lot of subs because of a short I made over the 4 agreements. So sometimes it just depends. So I don't, so it's just, you'll see different things here. But tonight, I'm a scientist, and we have a cloud engineer here who I've wanted to talk to for a while now. And we're going to talk about cloud engineering and some other aspects. He's doing something very, very important. So with that, everyone, I want to welcome up Theo WAF.
Hi there.
Theo,
how you doing?
welcome.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Good to see you too.
I'm doing well tonight. It's been a good 2 weeks. Class is going well. They're learning quite a lot, and we're doing DevOps, and we're learning basic, also advanced cloud. Got guys getting AI jobs, so yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty happy so far.
Okay, and we were talking before the stream started. So right now you're located in Austin.
All right.
And I haven't been to Austin. I've been to Dallas and San Antonio and Houston, but the master teacher BGS called it an Emerald City. Is that true? Is it this major tech hub like Silicon Valley was 20 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely tech. It's a lot of tech, but there's also a lot of tech in Dallas and Houston. So not so much in San Antonio, in my opinion, but it is because there's military there. So
military.
They still have the tech, right? But here in Austin, like, tech is kind of wild. So there's a lot of it. It's all over the place. And
okay.
So originally I came here in order to work tech. Amazingly, I've only worked this is my 9th year I've been in Austin. I've only worked like 1 year on site in Austin. I've worked remote the entire time after that.
Now is the tech presence, is that from the University of Texas, or are there tech companies there?
There are tech companies here. So we have Intel, Google. Google has their own building. Facebook is here. IBM is here. We have AS400 cloud centers here as well. These are just some of the biggies. There's a whole slew of others. But like Jira, Atlassian is here as well. So there's a lot of big odd name IT companies are in Austin.
Okay, yeah, my backgrounds are pharmacology and toxicology, so the tech space is like a big black box for me.
Well, Elon Musk is here too. So Tesla.
Okay.
So we have the Giga Center, and now he wants to make a chip manufacturing plant here, and then of course the cars are made here, and a lot of the Waymo taxi AI taxis, right? They were being tested in the area where I lived. That they would test them at night, and now they're actually driving people from point A to point B. So there's no people in there, right? Except for the passenger. So I'm just saying, like, there's definitely tech going on there. There's definitely AI going on here.
Okay, that might be a southwestern thing, because I was going out to Phoenix once a year and I saw those driving around the Phoenix metro area. I don't see them in the DC area yet, but they're being unleashed down there.
Yeah, I would say for DC they need to have guns so they can shoot back. That's a
yeah.
Right, because there's no protection inside the car. But here it's pretty safe. Well, but we do have violence here. But yeah, it's a pretty safe area, so it makes sense to put it here.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump in to the audience. No matter which side you're watching on, if it's on the science and technology side or here on the original channel, please smash the like button. Please consider subscribing. If anybody wants to make a donation, you all know how to do that. I'm not monetized on the science channel, so it would have to be by one of the methods in the ticker. All right. The Theo WAF story. So Theo, thank you for being here. I've seen you on several platforms and in the YouTube streets going back 2 to 3 years at least. And I've wanted to talk to you for a while. And also thank you to Jules for helping to set this up, and also to Dr. L for his previous interview, which gave me a little bit of a runway in terms of what to ask you. Before we get into the cloud the meat and potatoes of cloud engineering. Talk a little bit about your background and how you grew up. I'm a STEM guy, and I'm always curious to hear about how other STEM guys grew up and got to where they are.
So, I mean, I was always into computers when I was growing up. My dad bought me a Tandy 1000 SX when I was a kid. So, I mean, I was COBOL and C programming and BASIC with him. He also gave me an Atari 1040 ST when I was younger. So I had a paper out, and I would spend my money buying software and video games for my systems. And that was it. I mean, I was just a bona fide nerd on that area. I really liked what I was doing, and that's how I started. I just kept on doing it. For me, it was a hobby. It wasn't really something to do. It was just a hobby. I went to Japan, and I was an English teacher. And I did not think that a Black person could work in tech. And basically what happened is I don't know, by the grace of God, I met one of my friends who was in the dormitories with me at U of I, University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. And he was working for a Japanese company doing tech. And he saw me as an English teacher, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm thinking to him, I'm like, I can't do this because I'm Black and he's white. But he's looking at me like, are you something wrong with you? Are you stupid, Theo? Because like he saw what I was doing before at U of I, and I was competent in tech. So he's like, why don't you get a job and doing IT in Japan? And there's a certification program. This is how it works. This is how you get into the companies. That was it. I only needed one conversation. I remember going home after that, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. So I got certified in Microsoft, and then I got a bank job afterwards, and the rest is history. I kept on going, never looked back.
Okay, so the teaching English, that means you were, what, in your teens or your 20s at that point, or?
I was 24, 25. So I was 25, actually, when I talked with him. I had gone to grad school for computer science and linguistics. So linguistics is what I got my English teaching jobs. I was pretty good at it. But that was nowhere. That wasn't really a career. I mean, if I worked 7 days a week, minimum 10 hours a day, I could make $6,000 a month. That was nothing. So why don't I go into tech, which is what I really like to do. So that's actually what I did. It took me 2.5 years for me to be specialized in security, which is what I did. So I'm a certified information system security professional, which is a CISSP. I was Japan's 5th CISSP in 2001, and I was the only foreigner who got passed it at that time. So I was in a unique position, and I kept on working with establishing some of Japan's first security systems for rather big companies. I was an architect designing those for those companies. So it didn't take me that long, but I did it.
So say that again, a CISSP?
Yeah, so it's Certified Information Systems Security Professional. And there's not that many of them in the world who actually pass the test. And I did pass it. So yeah, it was wonderful. It wasn't offered in Japan, so I actually had to fly. So the first time I took it in Singapore, and I failed it by 1%. So the second time I passed it, I was in Hong Kong, and I totally aced it. I just destroyed that test. I was just done. So it was great. One of my best victories in life.
Okay, so it sounds like you where you are now, that really launched after you finished your 4-year degree. Yeah,
that's right. So I mean, I was in grad school, and then after grad school, I was in Japan, and then the 4th year in Japan, I got my CISSP, and that's when I started making 6 figures a year, and that was like the total victory. So I was making $10,000 a month. It was exactly $10,000 a month, and I was on cloud 9. I was 28 years old, making $10,000 a month. Oh yeah, I was totally happy. I was like, yeah. I didn't have to interview for companies. People were coming to me trying to hire me. I was like, yeah, this is great.
So it sounds like it was the certification,
Yeah.
not your college degree that catapulted you to new heights.
It was definitely the certification, and then I could do the work. So I was a technical CISSP. So a lot of CISSPs are managerial, whereas I'm technical. I can actually go into the prompt and get the work done. I can go into code and recode and refactor things, and not many CISPs could do that. So there was just a plethora of work for me to do. In fact, right now, the job offer I have to return to Japan is doing exactly that, is to go back and look at a company's code and work and actually create an entire security program for them, because they don't have anybody. To put it in perspective, the United States has over 300 million people, and we have about 1 million IT security professionals. Japan has 120 million people. They have less than 20,000 security professionals, IT security professionals.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why, like, people will just call, like, LinkedIn or other places that they even now in Japan, they know I'm fluent in Japanese. So they'll send messages over and say, hey, you want to come back? And I have a permanent residency visa for there. So they're like, hey, like, we don't have to sponsor you either. You can come back. What do you want to do? Do you want to? Can you get here in 2 months? Right?
Wow.
Like, no, I've got my dogs. It takes 6 months for the dogs to get over there, so I can't just go over there right now. But I still get job offers for me to return.
Okay, so part of your, we're going to move on in a moment, but part of your 4-year degree was computer science, computer engineering.
So for a bachelor's, it was Russian, French, and economics.
Oh, okay.
My computer science was a minor, to be honest, and finance was a minor. I was a double minor, and so then when I went to grad school, I went to grad school because I was waiting to go to Japan. So I had to get the visa approved, and it took over a year for my visa to get approved. So I had nothing to do, so I just went to grad school. So I did double masters, computer science and linguistics while I was waiting, and then I wrote my thesis and additional work while I was in Japan. I did it remotely.
I guess I'm trying to gauge, because when you think about these types of fields, I'm trying to gauge whether or not you need it. Do you need mathematics, a mathematical background to?
No,
okay.
No, not at all. I don't use math. So if you're doing theoretical work, you have to have mathematics. But I'm not doing theoretical. I'm doing more practical. Like, hey, we got this system. We need it to work. Right? Like, we have an Active Directory. We have 5,000 users. We need to be registered into the directory, and then they need permissions, and they need to have access to resources on the network. And then we have a network that we need designed. Okay, how do we do that? That's how it started. So there's no math involved. It really is TCP/IP, basic networking, cabling, now be fiber optics, stuff like that, MPLS. A lot of, like, now, and of course, cloud's the next big one. So there's no math at all. I never use math.
Okay, that's good to know. All right. So you're a STEM guy. Have you read all those books behind you? That's an impressive library.
A lot of them. Oh, that's not even 20%. I've got quite a lot of books. I got books on the desk. Like, again, this is, like, for example, this one, Mastering. Like, I don't know where to put them. There's another one. This is the book I'm trying to get through this week. I won't get through it though. It's pretty thick. Right?
Yeah, that's mildly.
So I'm going through here. I'm like, oh, I need to improve my AI system design. Okay, so I'm reading it. So there's books literally everywhere. If you were in this house, you'd be like, oh my goodness. Like, yeah, he's definitely not getting laid in here. He's just doing his books. So, yeah, it's just books, more books, study, exercise material, stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Now this is personal, but I feel like I heard you say this in discussions with others. Your father, did you say that your father was particularly strict on you? Or
yeah, so I would say I'll be honest with it. So My dad was strict, and he had pretty good structure with me, but he was also very loving. Mom is the reason why I go to therapy. So my completion of therapy is because of her. It's very specifically because of her. And when I finally started talking, I started really talking, my therapist straight out says, "Yeah, your mom is evil," straight out. But my dad, he was strict on me. That was without a doubt. He made sure that I did things in a certain way, and he wasn't playing around, because if I failed, the losses were massive. So, for example, when it came to women, if I wanted to go on a date with a girl, my dad would just sit back and say, "What's your plan if she's pregnant?" And if I didn't have a plan, he'd be like, "Okay, you're not dating." Or, "Is this the kind of woman, is this the kind of girl you can be with for the rest of your life in case she gets pregnant?" And if I said no, or if I said I don't know, my dad would be like, "Okay, you're not going out tonight. You're gonna stay with the computer. You're not doing that." And the reason why he did that is because there were so many, particularly black kids, black men, black boys, who were getting girls pregnant, and then their lives were destroyed afterwards. And he's like, "That's not going to be for you." So I went to U of I on full scholarship, and I was accepted to Michigan, and I was also accepted to Berkeley. In fact, Berkeley and Michigan, I did not apply there. They actually called my university, they called my high school and said, "You're accepted. Please go." I'm accepted on full scholarship. So I was in a pretty good position, but that was really because of Dad. He was the one who put a lot of structure into my life and made me study, which was good for him.
Okay, so you're from Illinois, and your parents, you're biracial, or?
Yeah, biracial. Yeah.
What was your mother? What was her?
Mom was white, Lithuanian Russian.
Russian.
And my grandmother was born in Russia. And my maternal grandfather, was born in Lithuania. And then my father's side, ADOS. Straight out ADOS. I got DNA test. ADOS. Yeah, ADOS.
Okay. Yeah, my mentor's son, my mentor, his son is biracial, but he's brilliant. Just similar to you, he's brilliant. So, okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what I would have done without my dad. Straight out. Mom was crazy, but Dad was just like, "I'm not accepting any excuses from you. Yeah, you have to go do this, or go get a job." I was 10 years old. He's like, "You're working. you want $10? Go mow a lawn," right? So that kind of structure was in it. If I want anything, I have to work for it. But then he would be supportive of it as well. So if I wanted to have, this I was just, my birthday, I was just remembering this. This is like understanding Atari, right?
Mm-hmm.
ST. My dad bought this for me when I was in '87 for my 14th birthday. So this is the kind of thing, like, if I needed a computer book, or he thought, I'd do well with something, he'd go out and buy it for me. Right? He'd give me that kind of support, which is what I definitely needed as a son. And a lot of other kids didn't get that. So I was rather fortunate to have that kind of relationship.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always curious to hear Dr. Thunder. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Thunder, but he
I know.
Speaks very highly of his father and what his father did. So it's always interesting to hear how individuals arrived at where they were. Was his background in the STEMs, or was his background in something else?
He would dilly-dally in STEM. He was kind of in STEM, but kind of not. So he studied COBOL for business systems in university, but he never finished university, and he just tried to get a job afterwards because it was in the 60s. So he didn't really care, kind of like a rebel or a hippie at that point, and he always wanted to go back. And so that kind of, he didn't want me to like drop out of school the way he did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he was so strict on me. So yeah, I knew that I had to go out and do something and show up, whereas he didn't do that. So it was kind of a friction between us, but I knew that I had to study. There was no option.
Okay. And really quickly, your mother, was she a professional in something, or?
Not really. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, mom was messed up.
Okay. I don't want to.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind saying that, especially after therapy. I have no problem saying, like, I've come to I have resolution over that. I have peace over that. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, there's a significant problem with her.
Okay. Well, just in his whatever detail you want to share, did she come from a troubled background herself? In her
Yeah, she had a very troubled background. And that's why she made a lot of the choices that she did.
Yeah.
And to be honest, she was the reason why I became a passport bro, was because I couldn't stand being around her. So this is, again, when I was with BGS, when I started listening to him, I was surprised just how much in common I had with other black males in the United States. Because I had, even though my mom was white, she was like this really just horrible person inside the house, and she was very negative. And so when I was in grad school, I implemented the one ocean policy, which was like I had to be one ocean away from her, particularly her. So that's why I went to Japan. It was very simple. Like, yeah, I'm leaving. I went to Russia for a year. I went to France for a year. I studied at Sorbonne in Paris. I studied at St. Petersburg State University in St. Petersburg, Russia. I did a lot of studies. I had a great time. I had no desire to return to the United States at all. It was because I wanted to get as far away from her as I possibly could.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna come back to how you came to the sphere, the space, whatever you want to refer to it.
Sure.
Let's talk some more about cloud engineering. So you talked about your background. You talked about your educational background and how you got into cloud engineering. For the layperson watching this, and this will be helpful for me too. What is the cloud? When I think about the cloud, I think about data storage. And I think I have an idea of what cloud engineering is, but can you just give us the layman's bare bones Cliff Notes version?
The cloud is all of the services and the storage for you without any of the hardware or without any of the software configuration. So, for example, let's talk about Office 365, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you use Office 365, you just use it. You don't have to think about installing it. You don't have to think about a license. You don't have to think about like a lot of things. So basically, I mean, if you want to install it on your machine, or if you just use it on their browser, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. You can use it on your tablet or if your cell phone, but you don't have to worry about the software development. You don't have to do patching or anything. So Microsoft takes care of all that. So that's a great example of cloud. It's a bunch of services that are given to you whereby you do not have to think about the management or administration. You just use it. Gmail is a wonderful example of this. You don't have to do anything. I mean, you just have a password and your Gmail account that you choose. That's it. Literally it. The rest of the infrastructure is provided for you. You're just using the system. And so that is, somebody in the chat is saying SaaS, which is entirely correct. It's a SaaS service. So it's software as a service. You're able to use it, you already use services without any configuration, without having to own it. You're like kind of renting part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what cloud is. So if you really get nitpicky into it, you're going into the underlying infrastructure and making that into the cloud. And there's various levels that you can do this. It can actually work on this.
Okay.
So go ahead.
No, I was going to say, does this have a cartoon here? Is this a good depiction of it?
Storage. I would say that it includes it. I wouldn't have the arrows that way. I would have circle. So I would have cloud in the middle, and then I would have at the edge of a circle.
Mm-hmm.
All the other services would be there, because it includes all of that.
Okay.
So it includes software, servers, storage, networking, which is IAM. All of that is included together within the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Gmail is a part of the cloud, which we all use. It's email, it's storage, it's
well, what we're using right now, of course, we're on StreamYard and Yahoo, right? The massive cloud, both. This is clouds. This is all cloud. This is all cloud service.
Okay. So it's essentially, since you mentioned StreamYard, it's essentially, because I'm also thinking about lots of servers in a big warehouse somewhere where all of this is being stored and all of this is being run. And
yeah, so that is okay. So the underlying infrastructure, this is if you go into the basic parts of it, which is I'm actually teaching part of this in class. So if you want to get the switching, the routing, and then the actual physical servers in a data center and talk about that is the actual foundations of the cloud. Okay. And then what you do is you put software on there, which is cloud, basically cloud software. And then from there, okay, so you make you make in a software layer which supports abstraction. And so in the abstraction, you can make virtual servers. You can make virtual routers. You can make virtual firewalls, right? And then everything, you don't know exactly where that code is located, is in which server is it located. It doesn't matter to you. It's kind of just like floating in space. That's it. And so you say like, okay, so I want like 20 virtual servers to be made. And in these virtual servers, I need to have the software installed. Okay, no problem. We can go ahead and do that. But although it's in virtual, right? You don't know in which part of the data center your data is actually located. It's impossible to tell. But that's actually great because that's how we want it to be. So what we do then is, let's say that we call what we call as a region. So in one region, we put like 3 or 4 data centers. And then instead of putting 20 virtual servers into one data center, I put 5 virtual servers into 4 data centers. And then they can act together as 20 servers. But they're in 4 different locations. Well, why do we do this? It was for redundancy. So in case, somebody decides to launch a missile or a drone at one of the data centers, we don't care. We're like, oh, okay. Well, we still got these other 3. They're running. So you took that one out. We got other 3. It was fine. The traffic just went over there. we don't care. We just keep on going. And so that's how the cloud really works. So yeah, they're called it. Somebody in the chat said AZ. So the data centers are actually called availability zones. They're called AZs. So what you can do then is you can actually then do load balancing within one region for those 20 virtual servers. Or if you want to say, I want 10 virtual servers in one region, and then I want another 10 in another region. So for example, I want 10 in Ohio, but then I want another 10 in Ireland. Well, you could do that. So you can have 4 AZs, right? You have 2 in Ohio, 2 in Ireland, and you just put 5 virtual servers in each one of them. You've got 20 virtual servers, and they're operating in 2 geographical, they're operating in 2 continents and in 4 geographical locations.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I haven't heard anybody mention blockchain in a while, but this is essentially how having a distributed ledger works, correct?
Okay. Yeah, in a way, you could think of it like that. What I think of it as, it's more of a distributed system. So you don't want your services to go down, so you want your services to be as close as possible to the people who are listening to you. So in that instance, in that case, you want to be able to be what can I say? You want to be flexible. You want to be able to what is it? The technical term? I just forgot about it. you want to be able to expand however you need to. So let's say, for example, you have 2 locations. You have Ohio and Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that for some reason your service has become really, really popular in Europe. And now you don't need 10 servers in Europe, you need 50. Okay? Well, the way you can do it in the configuration you have with the cloud, it'll just automatically increase the virtual servers from 10 to 50 for you. So then you get all that software, it gets automatically installed. It's automatically dynamic. And so that's all great. Thanks, guys. I forgot the word auto scaling. So it auto scales for you to 50. And then when you, if you don't need 50 anymore, you only need 10, it'll roll back for you as well. So that's great. It kind of like alive, but it understands that there's basically policies that you configure, which you don't need math for, but you just say, hey, look, if I have so much traffic or I have this kind of situation, I want you to go ahead and scale up. And then if the situation stops, I want you to scale down. And it does it automatically for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you mentioned some companies when you were talking with Dr. L, individuals in the sector, individuals you're training. You mentioned, I know in that discussion, you mentioned hospitals. So there are cloud engineers in hospitals, but there are cloud engineers also working for Google. Where else are they working? Microsoft, Amazon, where?
So about 20% of American companies have a cloud presence. And I would say that, and realistically, it needs to be about 50%. So there's real room for growth. So it's almost, every major company that you have, like if you're talking about the Fortune 500, they all have cloud. If they don't, I'd be flabbergasted. But that each one of them didn't have cloud. So the ones who are making money, they definitely have a cloud presence.
Okay.
Because you save so much money by doing this. It's actually great it's a great savings move.
Okay. So we're gonna pause here with the cloud talk, and then we're gonna come back to your academy. So
sure.
What, because I think these two, you starting the academy, I think these two are very much intermingled. What brought you to this particular sector of YouTube, this Black Manosphere sector?
So I was in the white manosphere, which for me was just the manosphere. I didn't know there was anything else, but I was in the manosphere for about 7 years. And then 2017, when I came here to Austin, I heard Obsidian, and then I heard BGS. And in particular, I was listening to BGS, and he was talking about Black men and how they act and their psychology. And at first, I thought, I'll be straight up honest, I thought he was arrogant and full of it. I was like, what the hell are you talking about, right? So I was fighting him, which is normal, but I listened. But the thing was, I was a ninja watcher. I was very quiet, but I was listening to what he was saying and fundamentally what he was going through, when he was explaining. And the more I listened to him, the more I recognized that the fight for the manosphere was going to be in the Black manosphere. And I had by far more in common with the Black manosphere than I had in the white. So although I was still in the white manosphere for about 2 years following that, I started migrating more and more towards the Black manosphere. And I said, because I saw what the pain levels were. And white men were having pain, that's true. But when I started hearing what Black men were going through, I was like, oh my goodness, this is horrible. This is some really bad stuff. There's an issue. And I recognized that the pain that I had gone through was closer to the Black manosphere than it was with the white manosphere. So I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna do my battles here. I'm gonna stay in the Black manosphere. So I just continued, and so I was with Obsidian, BGS, and then Coach Greg Adams. And then, I can't believe I forgot his name of all things. Donovan Sharp.
Donovan.
Okay. Yep. And then Donovan introduced me to Kevin Samuels. That was it. So then I was in Kevin Samuel's group, The Mix. I'm still there. And then Obsidian was there. And that is where the idea for the Academy was actually created.
Okay. You know that name, it gives some people heart attacks.
Yeah.
That's putting it mildly.
Good.
Plus ones will stop talking to you if they learn that you had any association with them or that you endorse as talking points, and people will cut you off. You want to say a few words for our departed Godfather?
He was absolutely wonderful. It was in that environment that I actually started breathing, and I actually recognized that I had a space. And so I was a moderator for him, still am. So is somebody in your chat right now, TIQS. He's also a moderator for Kevin Samuels. So we used to be on there. If you go look on some of the old podcasts, you'll see my name come up there. And so TIQS will be there. We're actually moderating the chat. The thing is that this is how it worked. So when I originally joined the space, 2010, and then really 2011, I was homeless 6 weeks, and I didn't make anything more than $23,000 that year. It was a mind-numbing, crushing year for me. And I took the RP, and I went again towards the manosphere at that point. I stopped. I went monk mode. Basically all communication with women stopped. And then in 2020, during COVID, I hit $600,000 a year. So I'm coming into these groups and I'm talking and I'm saying how much I'm earning, and people can't believe that I'm earning 600,000. And then I said, okay, fine. I'll just say I make 300,000. I don't care. So there, okay, I make 300,000, and they still can't believe it. And I was like, you don't think I can do that because I'm black? Okay, that's not tolerable. That's some BS. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to start this academy, and I'm actually going to teach black men how to do this. And it was in Kevin Samuel's group, and within that environment that he created, where this idea came up that I was going to train black men to actually do this kind of work.
Okay. TIQ says, yeah. He said, wow, my family cut me off because I wore a KS t-shirt. I didn't know families would do it. I know plus ones will get apoplectic over Kevin, and but whole families will. Wow. Okay.
I had friends leave me. I said at one point, I said, look, I'm not doing anything with single mothers. It's impossible. I'm not doing that. Cut them all off. I had like almost all my single mother friends and a few single father friends cut me off on Facebook in one day when I said that. And I'm like, who are you? I'm like, if I say that that's my preference, who are you to disagree with that? Like, what? But yeah, they just went nuts. And I was like, okay, the $600,000 a year stays with me. That's better, right? I was really surprised to what degree people were controlling me, trying to control me. And then I saw this with other black men. I was like, no, this is not going to happen anymore. I'm totally tired of it. This is just not tolerable at all. So yeah, I'm glad that I decided to go and I went ahead and created the first conclave, and that was in Atlanta in 2021. What had actually happened is in 2020, I was in Reddit, and I was talking about how much I was earning and working in the cloud, and two convicts reached out to me, and they were both fishermen, and one was white, one was black, and they were in jail together on the same cell. And they said they wanted to know what it was to work in cloud and could they do it. And then they had a history, right? They had convictions. So could they actually do cloud given their criminal record, and they don't have a college degree? And I said, sure, no problem. Nobody cares. There's a few people who do care, but as long as they don't do fingerprinting or they don't really go crazy over that, then they don't care about it. So I help these guys get certified. They went from knowing nothing to getting fully certified in cloud. and they went from $30,000 a year to $120,000 a year during COVID, and that was in 2020. So I said, okay, well, if I can do it remotely, then why don't I make this into a system, and I'll just keep on teaching Black men how to do this.
Okay, so that was your motivation for starting your academy.
Yeah. It was not only that I could do it, but it was in particular people saying to me that I wasn't making 600,000 or 300,000 because I was Black male. I was like, oh no, you don't say that to me, and I will make other people do it. I'll raise hundreds of Black men to do this. All right, I will. I'll be invincible. I will not stop, and I'll make sure that 50 to 60% of these guys are passport bros. Okay, so that's what happened. I just went nuts doing that.
Okay, so there's a lot there. Okay, so you wanted to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
Up to this point, how many Black men have you trained? Ballpark.
I have over 900 have joined the class.
Mm-hmm.
I would say about 120 to 130 are actually employed in cloud. I'd say over 200 actually got certifications.
Mm-hmm.
So it increases, like, one part, sometimes I get a whole cluster of guys getting jobs, and sometimes it's just desert. Sometimes we get a guy, 2 or 3 guys per week getting certified, and sometimes there's nobody in doing it. So right now it's kind of in a downer position, but it's kind of unusual, but I'm sure there's a lot of people about to get jobs. One of my admins just got a job today, so that's great. So there are plenty of positions out there. Guys are getting the jobs. It's, again, as BGS states, you can join the group and take the class, but you have to do the work. So I have 3 requirements to be in my class. First, you have to be a Black man or adjacent. So if you're not Black male, but you understand the Black manosphere, and you're a man who understands the Black manosphere, I'll let you in. Then you have to have a pulse. You have to be alive. Okay. And then you have to be willing to do the work. As long as you do that, fine. This is one of the problems that we're having, is we got guys joining the class and then they don't go to class. And I'm like, well, you're not going to pass this system. You're not going to get a job if you have this behavior. So I'm not going to really be focusing on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I run it as a jobs training program, not so much focusing on certs, which I do teach certs, but it is basically, you're on the job. How do you do the work? That's my whole focus. That's how do you get this done? How do you achieve this goal? That's it.
Okay. One thing here, my brother Amal Dunbar's in the chat. Everybody, this is his merch right here. That's my brother. He says he's here to learn, so he wants to learn about the cloud. Okay. So Theo, it sounds like there's a lot here. It sounds like we're not even talking about get your college degree at this point. It sounds like get knowledgeable in this particular skill set, and then you can fly.
Yeah. I just want to say some of the most competitive. So the people I have to worry about. Do you want to know really the people I have to worry about at IT?
Who?
Okay. Non-college educated, only high school, white guys. Who that's all they did was code. That's it. That's their whole thing's coding. And like IT and all aspects of IT, those guys are like shock troopers. And I have to really worry about them. So in penetration testing, those guys are like almost invincible. It's very hard to beat them. So, they don't have college degrees. They don't care. They're like, why do I need a degree? The code is here. I can just use the code. Do I need a degree to use the code? No, I can just use the code. It's right there. I can get the code and develop it myself and do it.
The reason I'm asking this is because I feel like a couple of years ago there was a dust up here. I don't see Ray Alexander in the chat there, but he was kind of old school, college degree and the cert. But it sounds like that's a debate among people, college degree. But it sounds like you as long as you know how to write the code, you're golden.
Yeah, that's what they're ultimately looking for. So what is normally given, particularly for Black men in the United States, is go get a college degree and then go do CompTIA. And that is always a way to go to a low-level job. That's what almost always happens. And you're just following process. You're spending a lot of money and you're doing a lot of process, but you don't necessarily know how to do the job. So it becomes very theoretical. So it's like me when I went to grad school, right? My brain was scrambled in grad school. I couldn't really think. I could do some deep thinking, which is definitely true, but for abstract theory, but it's like, we have 5 computers, put them together, we need them to connect to the internet, we need an email server. I really couldn't do that. It was really hard to do. How exactly do I do it? Where do I go? How do I get the software? I didn't understand how that really worked. But if you talk to me about the abstraction for code or some sort of architect, something like really abstract, I was your man. I could definitely talk about it. Well, that's really not practical, right? Most of IT jobs are like, how do you get something done? So I changed my mind. Like, hey, let's just think about how to get things done. That's it. So my program is basically, look, you don't need to go to university. What you do, here's a book. Here's some Udemy courses. You need to read them. Okay, you need to do the Udemy. You need to show me what you're doing. And then I have a live class, and it's 3 times a week. And then you need to go to class and you need to participate. And you need to show me that you're actually doing the labs in the class. And then you need to do group work and you need to do homework. And if you do that, you're probably going to get a job because I'm training you to do my job, to do the kind of work that I do. But if you don't do that, if you're passive, or if you say, I'm going to do it on the replay, you're probably not going to get the job. This isn't going to work for you. And my program, just again, people in the chat will know, my program is designed to make you fail. And I push you very hard, and you are going to fail. And my question is, in failure, what do you do? What is your decision-making process? Because in the office, you are going to fail all the time. It is very normal for you to fail. So that's what we call shift left. So what we try to do in the office in IT is fail as fast as we can, because from the failure, we can learn what doesn't work, and we can go towards what does work. So we just want to fail quick. So it's part of DevOps. So so if you can, like, some companies want to fail 60 to 80 times a day because they can learn from those failures because they're constantly trying to fail. So inside the class, I give you labs that are challenging and designed to make you fail. And then you have to, it doesn't work. You have to think, okay, what should I do now? How should I do this? How should I do it differently? And then you're working with other people, and you're reiterating, you're changing things, you're restructuring it, and then you're coming out with a different solution. So yeah, it says, the first rule of programming is knowing how to fail. It's entirely correct. You are going to fail, and that's normal. Any program which doesn't include failure as a central part for IT they're delusional. It doesn't work that way. It would be like if you were talking about University of Michigan, you'd be like, hey, look, go to the University of Michigan. Your first year, you're going to win the NCAA, and the second year, you're going to get a job for $200,000 a year. You'd be, there's some trip in. It's not going to happen that way. That's not going to work. But there's some sort of like boot camps or other places. They give you this kind of like crazy heavenly image, and that's the way things are. That's not the way things are at all. You're going to fail a lot. So I need you to be comfortable with failure and know how to persevere and endure and continue on. And where I'm working at right now, I'm working on a project. I've been failing on it for like the last 2 months. I looked at the history. My manager failed on it 3 months before I joined. He just gave me the failure and kept on going with it. So I'm still working with it. So that's just a part of the program. I make sure you guys fail, and the guys who can deal with that, hang with it. they do really well in the office. They get jobs. But one of the problems you have with Black men in our community is they're parentified, as I was, and they are put into a situation where they have to be perfect and overcompensate for lack of father, lack of husband, lack of uncle, well, all these lack, right? So they have to be this Superman, which is dehumanizing, and then they think they have to be perfect, and they go into the class and they think they're going to have to everything perfect, they have all the answers. And I always tell them, I say, no, you're going to fail and you have to accept it. And this is normal. I want you to fail. And that hits very hard to a lot of my students. I don't care. You're not going to get this right perfectly. Because if you are, then you are AI or something like that. They should just put cables directly to your head and just have you start operating like a living computer. You don't get to go outside because nobody's perfect, right? In IT, right out of the box, nobody is, and we all fail. So it takes a while, but some students can't accept that, some do.
Okay, so we're aspiring to fail. I mean that goes against a lot of what we're taught at the in the K through 12 and the college system. BGS raves about your methods. Is this the bedrock of your method? And the TIQ says, I've heard about your Armageddons as well. He says, I felt a lot during Armageddons.
Yeah, so I give the students a very realistic real-world labs, and they have a series of labs they have to do when they have to work with groups, and it is gruesome. I made the last Armageddon a bit easier, so I give you Python scripts that help you understand whether or not you're correct, and you can understand your progress as you're going through. So it gives you some sort of visibility. I did that to be merciful to the students, and I also give them code examples this time. So when you're doing the Armageddon projects, you're going to fail. It's actually very hard. You have to think a lot about what the requirements are and how the function of the application is going to be, or the functionality of the infrastructure, or how things are supposed to be working. If you can get through it, well, one thing is you're going to be able to ace an interview because you have real world experience. It's really reflective of the real enterprise. And then if somebody says, hey, look, show us right now, go into AWS or get Visual Studio Code, actually do the code right now, show us a live demonstration. You could be like, yep, I've got it. Let's go. Let's do it right now. And you can actually give live examples of your capabilities. Whereas most of the time, if you're doing a boot camp or something else like that, it's all theoretical. You're not actually doing something. So you're not actually achieving a real world goal. So that means you get to an interview, you're going to stutter. You're not going to know everything. You're not really ready to go. You're actually rather green, right? You're a debutante. But in this case, you've already suffered through battle through my Armageddon labs. You've already gone through a forge of fire. So you get to the interview, you're like, hey, look, you're easy compared to what I've already done. That's the purpose. That's why I do these Armageddons.
Okay, so the students in your academy, you empower them to go ahead and make well above six figures. So they're in pretty good shape if they stay in and they learn it, and a company picks them up.
Yeah, my goal is that their first job out of my academy is they get a job for about $140,000 a year, working remote, maybe 10% yearly bonus, and then they can hopefully figure out how to go abroad and stay abroad for a while doing that.
Okay, so let's pause the academy for a minute, and let's go over here to Passport Bros, because you've been outspoken about that. It's right there in your title there. That's a term that also has a black eye. Why are you so adamant about that?
Because the way we're treated here in the United States.
Okay.
It's absolutely horrible. I can't believe how bad the treatment is. So I've lived abroad over 20 years. I had a great time over 20 years. And then I had some tragedies happen. So I came back to the United States to fix some things, which I've been here for a while. things are fixed. I'm itching to go back. The way that women treated me, the way that the system treated me, the way I was respected abroad was night and day compared to the United States. The United States, I'm still guilty for existing. When I go abroad, I'm celebrated for what I can do, for my capabilities. And so, again, Japan, they're still calling me up. It's like, hey, come back over here. I'm fluent in Japanese. I know that if I arrived in Japan, I'd probably be remarried like within 6 months or to a year, because they try to get me immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that situation here. I mean, you have women openly saying very negative and almost unbelievable statements about men in the United States, writing books about how to destroy men's lives, and then using the court system to do forcible state transfer of wealth between a man to a woman. And this is all designed for women's benefit. The only way of enduring in this system is to not participate as a man. That's the only sane way. And I have friends who are lawyers, and I'd ask them to give me prenup advice, and I actually talked with prenup lawyers. And there were some times which I was thinking about maybe, date someone or, get married. And I was going through the prenup situation, and there was no way to protect myself with a prenup, because there's always some way of going around it. And I just sat back and I said, this is impossible. I cannot deal with this. There is no way. If I go to another country and get married, I will never be treated like this. I will never have this much fear. And so it's this is like Jim Crow. I keep on saying this. Some people don't like it, but I would say this is like Jim Crow. I really don't see how the difference is between Jim Crow, because, you have Emmett Till and Carolyn was able to do what she did, and no, there was no repercussion. And what I see is that you have a whole group of women now doing that, not only to black men, now to all men in the United States. So why the heck would I ever do anything with the women here? It makes no sense. So, nah, man. Nah, I'm done.
Okay. As a black STEM guy, does that complicate things even further, because you're cerebrally, you're a thinker, you're not you're not out, you're not chasing the trends, you're not trying to be like Ghost on Power.
Let's say this, with the right women, and when I say the right women, I'm talking foreign women. When I'm abroad, those women think they hit the jackpot, because not only am I a provider, but I'm educated and civilized. So they're like, cool. Again, in Japan, I know how to treat a woman. I'm not sexist. I respect what she does. I respect her space. I respect who she is. The normal gender norms in Japan, I don't enforce them towards her. I'm kind of more laissez-faire. You want to do something, go ahead. Well, what happens? Japanese women jump on that, right? Of course, it's for them. This is a boon. So when I was there, I date college-educated women who were feminine, friendly, cooperative. They had no problems with me. We got along just fine. No attitude, nothing, and they treated me very well. I have never been treated that way in the United States. Never. And we were at war. Same thing. When I was in Russia, my first girlfriend, her name was Anna, blonde, blue hair. Blonde, blue eyes, right? She got her master's degree. She was incredibly brilliant, right? Treated me well. But the thing is that I had to be the man, and that she was the woman. And we had defined gender roles, and everything worked. But I remember that I had to act like a man immediately. There was no you couldn't do it halfway. You have to go full male, right? It's like, okay, let's go full male, right? When I was at the Sorbonne, I dated a Muslim woman from Syria. Same thing. She treated me wonderfully. I'm Christian. She's Muslim. She treated me like fully respectful, kind, nice. She got her bachelor's degree later on, but college educated, treated me wonderfully. In each one of these cases, I was the first choice. They were trying to figure out a way to get me to date them. All right. They would make it easy for me to date them. They would put themselves in positions where, like, hey, I'm here and you should date me. The Muslim girl that I dated, from the Syrian girl I dated, when I was at the Sorbonne, she just sit right next to me at the Sorbonne. So, I mean, when I was looking, I had to look at her, right? There, that's how it was, right? You don't get that in the United States. You don't. I don't get treated like that. No. Friend zone.
Okay, just
ATM
briefly.
and friend zone.
Just briefly, the Sorbonne. What is that?
The Sorbonne is like France's Harvard.
Oh.
Yeah. So I went in Russia. I went to the number 2 university in the country, and then in France, I went to the number 1 university. And then my alma mater was Champaign-Urbana.
Okay. You know, they say Percy Julian, the legendary chemist, when he went to Europe, he did quite well over there. He was in high demand over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They really like it. Most of my suits are Yves Saint Laurent or Armani or Brioni, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If my body is not correct right now, I have to get my body back because I'm working out. But before, back in the day, wear my suit, just be nice, look a woman in the eye, talk with her, speak in Japanese, speak in Russian, speak in French, speaking in her language, respectful, right? And make some jokes. Boom, date, done. It was a simple process. It was not. There wasn't having counseling or have pickup game. I didn't need a pickup game. I just need to ask her. Basically, the way I looked at it, especially abroad, if I need pickup game, that's for somebody who's charging.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I just need to be myself. That's it.
Okay. Or no cash at me $1,000 just to
talk. That's the whole thing. The women who need money, the women who have asked me for money, which nationality are they?
United States?
Yes. Always. The ones who want the money, American. The ones who want a date, who are they? Japanese, Russian, Syrian, Brazilian. Oh, last date I had was Venezuelan. That's right. Last one was a Venezuelan woman. They were going for dates, not cash.
Okay.
Why? Why would I date in the United States? That makes no sense. And then some people were saying, like, oh, you're making $600,000 a year, or you can date the women. I was like, what the heck? So that's buying them. Why would I need that much money to date somebody? Like, what is crazy? Like, so when I was dating in Japan originally, I was only making like $50,000 a year. They didn't care. Let's go on a date.
Okay. So we're almost at the end here. So you shared with and this is related. You shared with Dr. L that you've received some threats against you for your doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Why what's the danger? Why is it wrong for you to teach Black men in particular this skill?
Right, exactly. And then who are issuing the threats? Well, it's not white guys, because they'd be horrified of doing that. They know better.
Yeah.
So it's usually Black men. They're the ones who are doing it, because I am challenging the status quo, apparently. So I'm telling other Black men, don't go for a job of $60,000 a year. That's crap. Don't apply for a job. What you want to do is use LinkedIn and be so good on LinkedIn that companies are trying to recruit you. All right. You don't want to apply. You want companies to apply for you, not you apply for the companies. You follow this method, you want at least $10,000 a month, ideally minimum $140,000 a year with full benefits, 401k, the whole kabang, and you want it remote. And you don't have to start learning IT with learning how to configure a printer or configure an Ethernet interface card. That's old school. And the people who are the most aggressive towards me have been Black men of all things. And I suspect it's because I'm changing the dynamic. I'm changing the expectation of what Black men can do, and then I'm showing it. I'm like, look at my students. That guy has a job. That guy has a job. That guy's making $250,000 a year. That guy's making $150,000. That guy's making $400,000 a year. I have more than 5 students right now making over $400,000 a year after my class. Right. So what are they going to say to it? Because my process is very effective, right? And so they don't like it. They don't like what I'm doing. So I have people making podcasts against me, yelling, stuff like that. I'm like, who are you again? What are you doing? Tell me how you are enabling a Black man to, make $160,000 a year and then, get married in Brazil. I've had most of the guys who've gotten married are in Brazil. I have a lot of guys with girlfriends in Thailand, but they're on the process. They're trying to get jobs, and once they get jobs, they can probably get married. I got guys in Colombia, same thing, right? So I'm definitely I'm leaving the country. I'm going to Europe in October, and then I'm going to kind of go back and forth for a while, and then I'm going to permanently move out again. It's the same kind of thing. I'm probably get remarried abroad, right? And have another wife. So there's, there's opportunities, and there's guys making real money and having real options. Other Black men don't like that for some reason. They want the guys to make no more than $90,000 a year and give their money to Keisha.
Okay. It's funny, just as we started talking about this, I have no personal quarrel with the Man of Tomorrow, but do you have a history with the Man of Tomorrow?
Oh yeah, he's definitely made videos against me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Theo,
yeah, he's definitely you got guys in the chat right now who could say that they have jobs. I'm looking at the chat, like there are students of mine who actually have jobs who could actually rebut that. And you're talking about a recruiter, like what do you mean about a recruiter? That's irrelevant. That's not the way the system works. My students go on and get jobs. It doesn't not based upon my academy has nothing to do with recruitment.
Okay. Thank you to Money Motion for the generous Cash App. If anyone else wants to donate something to the stream, if you're on my science side, I'm not monetized over there. If you're on this side, the original side, the super chat is live. But I want to thank Theo for this valuable game he's giving us. And please smash the like button if you're not subbed. Please consider subscribing to either channel wherever you're watching. I was thinking earlier after watching you and Dr. L's interview talking about this around the time of COVID, around the time of when President Biden got elected, Goldman Sachs and Google, they pledged those dollars to invest in STEM jobs for Black women. So those are two major companies who pledged significant dollars to one gender. And so for one man to be doing this, I don't see a problem for one man to be doing this for the other gender who probably needs to help more.
Yeah, Black men need this. And that's one of the things I thought about, like, where does somebody say, like, hey, look, I'm just going to work on Black men. I'm just going to get them. One of the things that really irritated me was working in corporate America, they're importing Indian men, and then they're using DEI to hire white women. Some Black women, but a lot of white women. Where is it that Black men get a break? Where do they get their opportunity? I thought this is some BS. Like, I'm going to do it, right?
And everything is about, we have to get the girls involved. We have to get the girls involved. We have to get the girls involved.
Right.
And I don't hear a lot of, we've got to empower the boys. We have to empower the men. We have to get the girls and the women involved in this. I'm not saying there's something wrong with getting them involved in the sciences or employed, but it seems that there hasn't been as much effort to get the boys and the men empowered in this area. So I think what you do is a great thing.
Thanks. Well, we need more of it. And that's why I'm going to keep on going with these guys, and I keep on training them as much as I possibly can. I have no problems with investing or no regrets investing my time into Black men. I have students who have done really wonderfully well, and they have their own testimonies, and they're making the money. It's very well organized. We're expanding. We're going into AI right now, and there's a lot of opportunities. So let's just keep on going. But yeah, you don't have a company like Microsoft doesn't come out and say, "Hey, we're going to put $1 billion into educating Black men in STEM." Nothing. Okay. Crickets.
Yeah. So we talked about participants only have to have a pulse and they have to have drive to do it, and they have to. I think I recall from your interview with Dr. L, they have to keep learning. It's not a one-time. Boom, I've arrived.
Yeah.
They have to keep learning and evolving. Okay.
Yeah, you have to keep on going. Yeah.
And the prospects for this field, there's a need for individuals in this field. Is AI?
Oh yeah.
Are these individuals? Are you all pretty much a little bit safe from this AI revolution?
What I always said is that you want to be the guy designing the AI systems.
Okay.
So you're seeing who's going to lose their job. You're not the one losing the job. So you want to be the designer of it. And I'm designing, for example, so for this job that they want me to do in Japan, it's actually implementing AI for their regarding their code repositories and doing level 1 security analyst jobs. Level 1 security analyst work. So that company where I'm at, they wouldn't need any like beginner security analysts in the company at all. Which I find to be funny because like, okay, well that's just removing people's jobs, but that's how AI works. So if you are somewhat competent, if you're a Gen Xer, right, you know what you're doing in AI systems, you're doing in IT systems, you're going to be just fine with AI. You need, what I always say in the class is you need to become an AI enabled engineer. You need to know how to use it and then how to design it. If you don't know how to use AI, if you're not AI enabled, this is not going to be good for you. Yeah, there's going to be a storm against you. It's not going to be good. It would be on the level of it being 1995 when you don't know how to use Yahoo search. You're like, I don't want to use a search engine. I just go to the library and look up, use the card index. Like, okay, let's see how that works. Right? you have to use search. That's the way it is.
Okay. And to join your academy, in addition to having the pulse, you're also providing this training for a very, very competitive entry fee. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. So to show it in the beginning, because people were skeptical, and I knew about that. So for the first 3 years, my class was free, and the first 2 conclaves, I paid for it all by myself. So I paid over $80,000 for those 2 conclaves to be in operation, and it was very successful. So for the first 3 years, it was nothing. And then I didn't start charging until 2024. And then that was like $175 for a year of training, somewhere around there. And now it's a bit more than that. So now it's like $1,200, $1,300 per year for a year or for 2 years of training within one cloud. I teach 2 clouds. I teach AWS now I teach Azure as well. So I teach AWS, Azure, and AWS. So all the 3 major ones. So we do Kubernetes, we do security, we do code review, we do AI, beginning AI with foundational models, and then actually how to design AI applications. And then Cisco as well, but I've been a little lax on the Cisco class lately, so I have to go back and get that back and running. So that's the price. It's not, I don't think it's that much, to be honest. compared to other boot camps, is actually rather cheap. And again, you can go in there and actually talk to students who are actually working. If you want to know whether or not this is useful or not, you can actually talk to guys who are working. It's it's up to you. Not a problem.
Okay. I'm not you this thing I'm about to show you addressed this, and I'm not showing
Okay.
this. I'm not showing this to stir the pot, but one of Man of Tomorrow's comments is 0 channel, so you don't have a channel. But you talked about that on Dr. L in your interview with him. You're running an academy here, so you're deciding your next life directions. So you don't have running a channel is the least of your concerns at this point.
Why would I run a channel? I'm running an academy. I don't need to run a channel. I need code. I need code examples. That's even thinking like that. See, if you're running a channel, you're trying to boost yourself. I'm trying to make my students better. It's not about Theodore, it's about my students. That's the process. That's the whole thing. Look at what my students can do. Not about me. I'm already rich. I'm already fine. I don't have to think about that. And so, if that's how he's thinking, there's nothing much I can really say. I don't need. My view has always been to go on other people's channels and talk there. It gives you an opportunity to get some content. I know it's hard to be a content creator. And it's, I can go up there and have fun. You get some credit for it. I don't have to do the admin. I can do the admin for my other systems. And that's the way it should be.
Okay. A few more, Theo, and I'm going to let you go because I have to finish my taxes here. We'll probably revisit this briefly at the end, but Art Bunker says, what's Theo's link or site or to attend his school? So how does it
go to the blackmanosphere.com. So blackmanosphere.com. You can get information about the class there, or you can just email me at theowaf at gmail.com. Either one, and you can actually get in contact and start communicating. The next class doesn't start until September. I got guys who are always trying to get in class and mid semester. I'm like, sorry, I can't do that. I actually have a system. I can't just have you come in because you're going to die in the class. So I always have new classes in September and March, every 6 months.
Okay. Now you said something. One last thing within your conversation with Dr. L about the amount of drive that you need to do something like this. And I think you zoomed out and we're talking about, you guys were talking about starting businesses, and you said something that was very, very impressive about, while you're doing something, while you're building your ship, you have to work your day job, and then you have to feed your business. And I'm not doing it justice, but do you want to say a few words about that? Because it was very, very.
So if you want to start your own company, you definitely have to work a lot in order to do that. So, I'll give you an example. I want to start my own gym here in Austin. In order for me to start my own gym, well, I have to definitely have a day job and be working that day job, right? So I have a lot of gym equipment, as my students know, but the reality is that those rent costs in the beginning, the first 6 months, probably going to come out of my own pocket, right? Until I get enough members. And that's just the way things are. If you have a dream, you still have to pay the rent. You still have to pay for food. So that means you're going to have to work a lot while you're attaining that goal or attaining that dream. So it's kind of like what my students are doing right now. They have day jobs, right? But they go to my class at night. They go to their group work at night or on the weekends. So it's okay to achieve your dream or pursue your dream. I think that's wonderful, but you have to pay the rent. If you are somebody who says, like, you go to somebody else and say, will you fund me or you believe in me while I'm doing this? I think that's kind of unfair. And I think you should be able to achieve your goal on your own, to be honest, and work it and then make it happen, because then it belongs to you. And that's the way it should be.
Okay. Now you said one other thing in that discussion, and it referred to solitude, particularly from the female persuasion. And you noted that in this particular season, you're locked in. You're not really entertaining, and you don't want to get distracted. Can you say a few words about that?
I have, again, as a monk, I have no desire to date whatsoever. I don't even, it's nothing at all, because I know the danger. As far as I'm concerned, dating in America is like dating in the South in 1930s. I have no desire for that. I'd actually be rather horrified at that. Except at least in the 1930s, my sisters were my friends. I don't really see that at this point. So when I go abroad, I date, right? But until then, no, man, I'm grinding. I'm getting things done. I need to set up structures. I need to, I need to make manuals. I need to make more courses. I need to make online courses. I need to make study materials. That's what I've been doing like all day long today. So there's a lot of work that I have to get done, and people are waiting for me to get things done, right? So I need to work on that. So I don't have a time for women. What I find in the class is, to be honest, the students who have women in their lives do poorly compared to the guys who don't have any women. And if, in particular, if a guy is interviewing and he's interviewing for a job for $120,000 to $160,000 a year, the woman will try to sabotage him and try to get it so that he can't get the job. We've had multiple situations of this inside the class. And we've actually had to tell guys to drop their girlfriends so that they can go out and get the job, because the girlfriend is standing as a distractor from him actually achieving this.
So Theo, I'm going to play devil's advocate. How do you know she's trying to block him from getting the job, or maybe he's just trying to entertain her, and then master the class as well? How do you know she's trying to?
Yelling, gaslighting, throwing things at him, telling him ain't ish, specifically being negative towards him, all that. And it doesn't really happen until he starts getting certified, starts interviewing, or starts having a possibility of getting a six-figure job. Then, boom, it happens. Until then, the woman will be like, she'll treat him well, right? But she doesn't think it's serious, because she's like, you're probably not going to make it. It's not going to work with you. I don't know how many students I've had go from like 40,000 to 90,000, and they're worth $120,000 to $150,000 a year, and they're living with somebody at home, and they don't do any more than 90,000. They get enough, and then they say, okay, they give their money to their woman, and that's it. They're stagnant from then on. They don't do any class updates. They don't do additional certifications. They don't do anything. They just do that one job, and they have her, and they say, okay, they have enough for her, and that's it. I've lost some of my best students that way. Sit back and like, okay, you're worth more. You can do more than that, but no, give it all to Keisha.
Okay. Where is it? Machismo TV says, please ask Theo to give the collective salary and number of cert stats for the group to date. Numbers don't lie.
So far, hey Machismo, how you doing? I'm on a podcast with him every Sunday. Shout out to Machismo. So far, the marginal increase of salaries has been over $11 million, at least, that I know about. And then that's the marginal increase, not the total. And we have well over 200 guys who are certified at this point.
Okay. Well, Theo, I only have one other question here. And I haven't done much of this lately. But for a while I was asked to do, STEM fairs and go to schools and those kinds of things. But if I'm out talking to, because this is not my field, but if I'm out talking to younger people, especially Black boys, what skills should they cultivate at an early age to have a chance to get into cloud engineering?
Read. You need to know how to read. This is the one area where we're having an issue. Reading. Can you read? Can you follow instructions? But can you read? So the books you saw I have books here, right? I mean, let's get another one. Gen AI on AWS. Okay, here another one. Automation. How about this one? Agentic AI Bible, right? I've got a whole shelf, and I can literally just sit here for a while and pull books off the shelf. Can you read? Can you actually pay attention? Can you sit down and read 3 chapters and take notes? That's the number one issue. It's not math, it's reading. We got guys who can't read. I'm serious. We got guys who can't read. They cannot read at a functional 8th grade level. This is an issue. So we actually do have more of a remedial class for them to help get their skill level up. We got guys who definitely can't teach. Can't read. They can't use a mouse properly. They can't type. Big issues.
Well, AB Media says here, reading and typing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we got guys who cannot do that. Right. Yeah, it's a finger thing. We got guys who have never used a computer before in their entire lives. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, this is a first world country. How can you never use a computer in your life? And then we get them into you have to use a computer in order to be in my class. It's literally impossible. I just had another guy say, please let me use a cell phone to be in your class. I was like, are you joking? No, you can't do that. It's not possible. Can you imagine doing this entire podcast on a cell phone right now? I don't see how that would work. I mean, you could do it, but it would be really hard. In cloud, no, not going to happen. So if they have never had a computer before in their lives, they can't type, and then they don't know how to store files on their computer. So they don't know, for example, if you store a file, is it in your desktop or is it in downloads folder? They don't know what a folder is. This has been a huge issue. They don't know what a folder is. So I'm looking at them like, how do you not know what a folder is? Like, I mean, okay, so where do you keep your Lizzo pics, man? Okay, I mean, what happens? Like, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing stuff? So that has been just a massive issue inside the class. It's one of our biggest challenges. Is getting people to read and actually use a computer.
Well, personally, my godson, I got him a computer around 2019. He was almost done with high school. If I hadn't gotten him that computer, he probably wouldn't have gotten one. So, he had a roof over his head. His mother kept him fed. But if he didn't have that, if I didn't get that for him, he wouldn't have gotten one until maybe later on his own. But at that point, he was doing all his homework on his phone. Mm-hmm. So that's a real thing.
Yeah, that's an issue. That should not be allowed. So the high schools, they should come out and say, like, hey, look what's going on. Why don't you have a computer? Like, you need a computer. It should be, okay, do you have a pen and paper? Do you have a calculator for class? Or do you have, an abacus? Things like that for geometry, stuff back in the day. Do you have these things? Like, we had to have school supplies. You can get a $200 computer and do something. I got guys who don't even have that. So this is the real issue we have. So at least, he going into university, 18 years old, right? Somewhere around there, he's getting the computer then. I got guys who are in their 30s have never had a computer before.
Yeah. Well, that gets to Bishop's question here. He asks, what age would you say guys are who struggle to read? Is it mostly younger people?
It's millennials and Gen Z. I'm not having the problem with Gen X, but particularly Gen Z. Oh yeah, there's an issue. Yeah, we have guys who cannot functionally read, and they don't think this is an issue. And I'm like, how are you going to work? Like, you do understand that in the company you're gonna have to make reports. You're gonna have to tell people what you're doing. You have to send emails. How are you going to do this? And they basically think they're going to be able to do some sort of speech, like recognition like that, and they can say it and then it can be transcribed. And I'm like, no, that's not the way it works in the company. They don't allow that.
Like on Star Trek.
Yeah, they think on Star Trek, right? I got guys who are having documentation read to them instead of reading. I'm like, this is not going to work, because you go to official documentation inside the company. That's usually Confluence and SharePoint. You're not going to have this done. And if they find out you're attempting this, well, goodbye. You are not going to make it. It's. I'll say this again. Abdul from India, he can read. That's it. It's not his English isn't his first language, but he can definitely rock and roll in reading something, and he can write it out. So you got to be able to read and write. Read and write,
okay. And then interview. I've heard you say the interviewing process was critical, but the reading and writing.
How to interview?
Yeah. Okay. That's huge, Theo. Thank you for saying that, because I think the perception is anything computer, cloud, or technology related. I think the assumption is, I need to do all this calculus and all this advanced stuff, all these advanced calculations. But okay, I will be sure to pass that little nugget on.
If you're developing a neural network, where are my neural network books? Here it is. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so if you're doing something like this, so programming neural networks with Python.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, you need some math with this, or Python for engineering and scientific computing, something like this. Yeah, you need some math. All right, but we don't do this in class. This is what I do for fun, like on the side. This is like my little side quest. This is the way I do. I like astronomy, and so I like using computer systems for astronomy and using math to try to figure out like where a star is, where an object is. Right? For me, that's kind of a fun thing to do. So yeah, I need math for that. You're not going to do that in class. Nah, you don't need that for a job. No, you don't need to do that. It's not necessary. You might do that later on if you want to specialize in the area, but to get in the door and get 6 figures, no, you don't need to do that.
Okay. I want to thank MS Delta Guy for the $5 super chat. He says peace to Dr. Dunbar and to Theo.
Mm-hmm.
And Money Motion, thank you for the super chat. He says Theo Sensei Tax.
There you go.
Okay. Theo, we're at the end here. Do you have anything else you want to say? Thank you for coming, man. I've been hoping to get you for a couple of years now, and this is valuable. It's what you're doing is very, very valuable.
I know you wanted the Illini to come in here and help the Wolverine out.
See, he wants to talk basketball again.
You just had to have the Illini come in.
They had a great year, man. Yeah, man. You guys had a great year.
Can you please help us? We're desperate Wolverines. We don't know what to do without the Illini, right? So, well, just because we're Big Ten, right? So, like in Big Ten, there is no race. It's just Big Ten. Like, oh, you're Ohio? Okay, you must be destroyed. Right? Your city must be eliminated, right? I don't care who you are. So, we have really big rivalries inside of the Ten. So, Illini and Michigan have like a major rivalry, and unfortunately, the Wolverines usually win. Not just a little bit, but it's usually devastatingly. So, yeah, this year would have been the same. But congrats on the NCAA.
You got us in football last year.
But it doesn't matter because what you still have the whole prestige and everything after that. I mean, it's Ohio still comes in and uses the Illini for their homecoming game. I mean, for heaven's sakes, like nobody takes us seriously, so it kind of sucks.
There are a couple of years when you guys got them too. You guys got them.
It happens every once in a while, you know. Sometimes we spike their drinks. Yeah, we get a few. We give the refs a few dollars, and we get a game.
Okay. Guys, let me give Theo a round of applause here. That's not a round of applause. This is the round of applause. I was going to play a song for you guys, like acoustic cinematic. Okay. Everybody, Theo WAF. Theo, thank you. I'm gonna wind the stream down at this point. I have your email address, so yeah, I will definitely be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you for coming and lending your telling your story and talking about the academy.
No problem. And if you ever want to come in and see the class, see what we're doing, you can pop in. BGS has been in there, let's be honest.
Okay.
So yeah, you can just pop in and say, okay, what are you guys really doing? And you can see what happens. One of my classes is being mainly run by my admin, but the weekend class on Friday and Saturday, that's the one I do. And then I do the AI class and the other classes. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to, because you guys do it virtually. You guys are.
Yeah, it's over Zoom.
Okay. Sure.
All right. So yeah, good talking to you. I like your podcast. It's actually pretty good. Like, if you ever see you're doing this podcast, you're doing this high level podcast, you ever have some comment saying, "Are you sure you gotta trust this Wolverine?" Yeah, you know that's the because I have to. I know, like, wait a minute. He's flaunting it. He's got a Michigan flag behind him. He's asking for this. I mean, I can't be silent. I have to say something.
Well, I have my HBCU up there as well. One of the guys from my HBCU said, "You always rep Michigan. You never rep Johnson C. Smith University." You know, so Marcus, if you see that, there's the HBCU.
Yeah, but Big Ten's number one. What can I say?
Now it is. Now that we have all the cloud engineers putting their money back into the football and the basketball.
We could afford the tickets now. So yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
All right. So great talking to you, and I'll see you again. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Theo.
No problem.
All right. And I see someone I haven't seen. Oh, hello, really, Chris. I was thinking about for some reason Usher concerts the other night, and I was thinking I hadn't seen you in a while. Thank you for stopping through the stream. Very lovely pic, by the way. Everybody. So that was Theo WAF. I was looking to talk to him for a while. Please like, share, and subscribe, whether you're on the original Big Discussions 76 channel or over on the Science channel. When there's time, when I have energy, I stream on Saturday mornings on the Science channel about science current events and science stuff, which is why I simulcasted both places today. Let me be really, really quick because I have to go and finish up some text stuff. I'm an author. I wrote a book, and it actually involves something Dr. Tia-san Johnson talked about on Dr. L's channel last night. Piecing your life together, piecing manhood together. This is a basketball story, but it's also about piecing things together, because that's what I had to do. There weren't a lot of men around in my ecosystem when I was young, so it's very much a metaphor for life and a metaphor for what we talk about here in the space, as we call it. I'm selling the hardcover. This is the Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story, Part 1, Innocent Basketball Dreams. This is Part 1. There's a Part 2. And I'm selling the hardcover for you guys for $27 and the paperback for $22. You can use one of those payment methods in the ticker. Make sure you send me your mailing address the way that Money Motion did. And if you think you want a copy and you want to pay by plastic, my online store is here. Use the coupon code Go Blue, and that will take $5 off of the list prices there. All right. Thank you to everyone who watched. Please consider subbing the channel. I was right under 2,500. Maybe now I'm over 2,500. We'll see. But everyone, have a good night. If you are a part of the replay gang on either channel, let me know what you think in the comments section below. And with that, everybody, I'll talk to you next time. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care. And I will talk to you all the next time. I don't know if I said it when I played the intro, but that was the nameless protagonist in the introduction for the stream. That was a conversation I had with the nameless protagonist over on my Science channel. We were talking about the mouse utopia in that particular sequence, in that particular talk, and listening to Nameless is like listening to, it's like his voice, it's like listening to poetry. Anyway, everybody have a good night, and I will talk to you all the next time. Bye-bye.